timer again.
Yeah, that was it. That is so confusing. It showed that the button was active, but then I pressed it and it changed the text to something else. I think we're actually live now. Let's see. God, what a disaster. How have we made it this far?
How far have we made it?
We should just stop this.
Here comes iPhone 16 and M4 Max. I feel like I've read that headline like 57 times in the past year.
How dare you? Are you accusing
weeks.
us of being derivative?
It's just such a whirlwind of rumors lately.
All right. I think we're live. Let us know if the audio sounds okay, guys. We did a little audio tinkering, and I think we nailed it. I think this might be the best one that we've ever done. You're in for a real treat. We got Jeff here who says this might be a prediction. Over under 49.5 minutes. Everyone has to walk those sweet puns out of here. You know what? You were close. I got about.
Did you say we're in for a real tweet?
Oh, I see what you did there.
Is that what you said?
Lewis, you should be working for Apple's marketing department because that's one of those things that you read, under the iPhone promotion. You're in for a real tweet.
It's Glowtime.
Although it's Glowtime, not their best work. Not their best work.
Okay, so here's my question to you. What do you think it is a pun on?
Well,
it's showtime or it's go time?
Aren't we supposed to talk about that during the show?
Okay.
Isn't that part of what we're supposed to talk about? We got Ninja Bricks here. We got Ulysses Martinez with a very enthusiastic "Hey yo." We got Level Remix here. We got Ninja. He's joining from math class. That's what I like to hear. No need to do the math. You're only paying for the class. Might as well just hang out here instead. We got Gurn. We got Dipsy Doo. That's right. It is showtime, I think. Let us know how the levels sound, although you haven't been able to do that because I'm the only one talking. No.
What?
No one wants to participate.
I can't talk and type at the same time.
Talking on a podcast, that's ludicrous.
Are you doing
too much of us.
the newsletter, Lewis? Is that what's going on over there?
I'm trying to retweet the tweet.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's going to be critical because this one is the one. This is the one that's going to make all the difference. Once people see that we've got the scoop on iPhone 16, that only we will be talking about what's coming in the next 2 weeks. They're going to want to hear this. And we got Robert Graham here from the Great Republic. He calls it a state, the Great Republic of Texas. Probably to be its own individual country in the next 5 years.
Jeez.
Possibility. In which case, I might be coming.
Wow.
Save me a spot.
Irfan Elijah, secessionist.
All right. Enough joking around here. We probably should get going.
That's crazy talk.
I know.
Fritter and waste.
I gotta actually go do some other stuff after this. I know you're all shocked to hear that. But do I actually have the holy moly? Hold on a sec. I gotta open up my notes because
oh dear.
I had to restart my computer, man. It's a prevention tactic because I keep having issues with my camera connecting to my computer. It's driving me insane. You might actually see me completely lose it here on the show and march out and maybe never return. That's a distinct possibility. So hopefully people tune in for that. You know what else I think we need to do? This is total tangent. My sincere apologies to all of you who watch this
tangent.
show. My sincere apologies for this tangent. I think we might need to turn monetization on for the show. I turned it off because I feel like it's just annoying and we don't get nearly enough live listeners to actually make it worth it. But I keep hearing that if you turn it off, YouTube won't notify people that you're live because there's no reason for them to promote it.
Oh.
So I think we may need to try turning it on and see if people actually get notified that the show is live. I don't think most people are notified unless they're like diehard fans. What
would it hurt?
Well, then the people listening have to, or watching live, are going to see ads, which is annoying. So Ninja Bricks,
even though we don't get quite a lot of viewers, 3:30 on Thursday every week. Like people do watch these throughout the week. Like over the lifetime of these videos, they get a decent enough
dozens of views.
I think the last one got like 140, which was a record for us.
So They drop ads in the live stream,
They will interrupt the live stream with a live ad, which is why I
and
turn
then what?
them
It
off.
picks up after that without having missed anything, or do you just like?
No,
what
I
if
think you missed
What if it's
stuff.
a
I think you missed
pearl of
stuff.
wisdom that drops straight from your mouth, and it's during an ad?
Sorry,
You'll
too
never
bad.
get it.
Too bad, bro.
Wow, that
Better
can't
luck.
be true.
Better luck next time. Yeah, they do. In fact, it will tell me it's like getting ready. Insert an ad in 3. It's like I think it tries to prepare you.
Oh, so you say,
And you can actually stop the ad if you want, but you got to be quick. You have to like swoop in there and hit the button, like the abort ad button.
"Wow."
That,
And then it
that's
won't
when
work.
you throw to me.
Now back to you, Griff. Then it just cuts off. In fact, that would be a funny bit. Like if every time it was about to cut that to the ad, I just cut to Griffin. Yeah, and then it puts ads in the show, which I have YouTube Premium, so like I never get exposed to this stuff because I just pay for it because I watch so much YouTube. I'm like, dude, I cannot handle the ads. I don't know how you all do it. Like the ads are so annoying. There's so many, and they're not relevant to anything in my life. It's so I just started paying. I forked it over, man. That's the key. That's the key to the fork. You got to annoy people to death until they're so annoyed by your behavior. They're like, I will literally pay you anything just to not bug me anymore. Maybe that's a tactic that we should try. Lewis, you should try learning that sound that Jim Carrey did in Dumb and Dumber. Remember that sound? You're really good at like vocal sounds. You know the sound I'm talking about. He's like, you want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? And he goes, ah!
I remember this.
We need to get you to master that sound. And then, like, for 1 minute a show, you just do it. And you don't stop until somebody forks it over. And then when they fork it, we move on.
I don't like where this monetization thing is pushing society.
Got to get the money, Lewis. We got to get the money. Got to get that money coming in, Lewis. All right. I think we're ready to go live. So if you don't mind, let's go ahead and queue up. Oh, Mrs. D. Oh, Mrs. D. Very excited today. Oh, my dear, I also make sounds. Oh, really, Mrs. D? Oh, yes, but they're mostly sounds of pleasure with El Katie. Would you like to hear one, my dear? Oh, no, Mrs. D, please, no. Definitely never. I was going to say not, but I also just mean never. Never bring that up again. We have a whole show to do here, and if you don't mind, no one wants to hear us talk about this topic any longer, so I'll go ahead and cue up the music. We'll get things rolling, and hopefully we can get all this stuff done in the time that we have allotted. Probably not. In 3, 2, and welcome to the CultCast Best 30 Plus an Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Aaron Lash. Joining me today, he recently suggested that they played loud heavy metal music in the CultMac Rider Room in an attempt to keep them awake and productive during their 16-hour shifts. But then several of them went mentally insane, and that was a big ordeal, and productivity dropped, and so that practice was retired. It's a good idea, though. The managing editor of CultMac is with us. Lewis Wallace is here.
It's all about motivation.
That's his creed. Also with us, he's always been a fan of the tech of yesteryear. And I've heard that he's decided his next car will be a buggy pulled by a horse. Found that buggy in an old barn not far from his compound in rural Ohio. Writer for CultMac, Griffin Jones is here.
They're fun. I actually have to ask you. Have you purchased any cars?
Well, you know the answer to that. I certainly did.
That was a leading question because our audience doesn't know the answer to that.
God, didn't we talk about this in a recent off topic? I think that we did.
This was before you made your purchase. I don't think we've actually revealed what happened.
God, I could tell a whole story about this. I won't do it now. No, I'm not going to do it. I really don't know if people like these tangents or not, so I should be careful because sometimes I go into them thinking that people actually will like them, and then like half our audience disappears. Yes, I did buy a new car. Griffin, as you well know, I bought a Subaru. The first Subaru I have personally ever owned. Now, my parents owned Subarus when I was young, so I had them in the family previously. But I'm not sure if I made a great choice or a terrible mistake, I'll be honest with you. I hear that people either love their Subarus or they're a horrible nightmare with nonstop weird repairs. And I'm already having one little issue with it that I called out to the shop. So I had a shop inspect this car, and I'm like, it's making a weird sound when you start it when it's cold. It's like a weird it's almost like a grinding noise or like a slapping noise. And it only does it when you start it when the car is cold or when it's been sitting there for a long time. And I called it out to the shop, and they did a bunch of tests on it, of course, and they're like, oh, yeah, it's fine. So I'm like, okay, so I bought the car, and now it's still doing it. And I'm like, okay, I didn't just imagine that. Like, it's definitely making a noise. And when I took it to get inspected, I even told them what I thought the problem was, because, like, you can investigate it on YouTube, right? So I'm like, I think there's a problem with this little hydraulic holder that holds the timing chain in place. And I think I was right, dude. So now I'm like, what do I do about this? Because if it is what I thought it was, the only way to fix it... Now, I've heard that you don't need to get it fixed because it's annoying, but it's not harming the engine. But depending on who you ask, I don't know what to believe. And if you do fix it, they have to pull the whole friggin' engine out, which there's no way that's cheap. So, like, if you take a car to the shop and you tell them it has a problem before you buy a car, and they tell you, no, it's fine, and then it turns out it does have that problem, what is the proper course of action there? You know, like, do they owe you
Burn
a free...
the shop down.
I'm going to burn it down. By the way, that was just a joke. I'm not going to burn down anything, but like Lewis might, though. Lewis might. He's desperate to burn a building down. It's been months since he has. So, like, is that a situation where the shop has to fix it for free? I don't know. I've never encountered this kind of problem before. I don't know what to do about it.
Did they give you a guarantee on their
No, they just
analysis or whatever? What do they
no, but
call
I
it?
paid them like over $200 for like the inspection, right? So it wasn't cheap.
So you paid, and now you think that they blew it.
I think that they messed up. I think they were wrong, and they didn't do their due diligence, even though I called it out. The more I've used this shop, dude, like this actually might be the last drop. I've used this shop before, and I have encountered little things that they've done that made me think, is it me that's wrong, or are they totally incompetent? But they're very highly reviewed on online. So I'm like, okay,
Incompetent people.
But I think a lot of people just don't pay attention. And in this area, anyway, I said I wasn't going to go on a tangent, and here I am, doing the exact...
Freaking far off on a
Yeah,
tangent.
doing the exact thing that I promised I wouldn't do. Okay, I'll stop myself there. Maybe we'll save that for a future off-topic if anyone cares. All right, we've got the invitations. The Apple iPhone event has been logged in the book. It's coming up. I'm not going to say anything yet about it because Lewis is going to tell us all about it. We've got incoming MacBook Pros right around the corner. I think the big question is this the one to buy? And I'll tell you what I mean. I'm really on the fence. I'm straddling the fence. And it's not a comfortable position to be in. Like those fence posts up in that area, not good. Let's see here. Griffin's going to try and convince us that Apple is definitely not behind in the battle of the AIs between Apple and OpenAI, I guess. Can he convince us? Doubt it, but we'll see. Apple Photos cleanup feature. I don't even know what this means, Lewis. What is this? Apple Photos app cleans up feature works great.
No,
okay.
It's a cleanup. The feature is called cleanup.
I think the store needs a cleanup. But we'll see.
It was a rush job. I had a podcast to get to.
Classic Cultimac rush job. We know those only a little too well. I'll tell you about we're talking about iPhone 17 here already. I love this. The exclusive feature coming to iPhone 17 next year. We got all sorts of stuff here. Griffin's going to talk to us about the 6 mind-blowing continuity features that every Apple user should know. And if you don't know them, then I would argue you're not a true Apple fan and you should not listen to this program anymore.
Oh,
did I take it too far? I don't think so.
If people don't know about them, then they should listen to the end of this podcast, and then they will know about them.
Yeah,
okay, that's another take that I like.
Try to
So
be
listen to the end.
inclusive and positive here. Joy.
You know that I try to be exclusive as often
Open
as
joy.
possible. Let's see here. Before we carry on, speaking of open joy, you know what gives you great joy, Lewis? Having a clean phone. A clean anything, really.
I wasn't sure where that one was going.
Oh, wait a second. What's going on here?
Oh, no.
Is this the wrong? Oh, there we go. That's what happened. Hold on a sec. I've got 2 browser windows open, and I cut to one of them, and there was nothing there. And I'm like, why is that happening? Okay. What brings me great joy, Lewis, and I know this is the same for you, a nice clean job. You know, like a clean job. Like you clean something up, and it's just sparkling new afterwards. Well, that's what you're going to have on your hands after you pick up some CultCloth. Thousands and thousands and thousands sold. If you haven't gotten yours yet, now this is obviously like the best time to buy them. You're going to be getting the new iPhone 16. You want to keep it sparkling clean like the day that you got it. Nothing else does that like CultCloth. It's not just iPhone. I use these. I got a couple kids that wear glasses. I might be wearing glasses soon. I feel like I'm going blind. And they work great on sunglasses, glasses, camera equipment, the dashboard of your car, the cup holders in your car, your windshield. I mean, you name it. Nothing leaves behind a better clean than CultCloth. There's just nothing like it. I've never used a cleaning cloth that's anywhere near that has the same efficacy.
Oh,
I like that
that's
word.
a $3 word.
I think that's more like a $10 word. Efficacy, I could barely say it, but it has a very super dense weave. All the fibers go through a special process to break them down, which drastically enhances the surface area, which means that they clean better than anything else. In fact, you can feel them working on your fingertips. You rub it on your tips, and you can just feel the fibers latching on. It's a very strange experience, actually. And you can have that experience yourself and have sparkling clean tech and glasses and everything in your life. Just head on over to cultcloth.co, and use code CultCast to check out. You'll get a free carry cloth with orders $20 plus, cultcloth.co. Thank you to everyone who's purchased these. It supports me and the show, which I deeply appreciate. cultcloth.co. Let's dive in. Where are we going first? I think we're going to talk about this imitation. Right, Lewis? Here it comes, Lewis.
It's Glowtime.
Oh, boy. Let's talk about Glowtime. I'm not sure, actually, what they're trying to do. It's not their best work. It's not their best work.
Not a fan. You know what it is? Some 14-year-old kid in Italy came up with the real one, and they had to say, "Oh, we can't use that now. Let's
remind
go
me what
Plan
he
B."
said.
What was it? It was
Ready, set, capture.
Yeah, ready, set, capture.
You know, that's good for a 15-year-old, but
He's 14.
14, that's good for a 14-year-old, but is that marquee headline material? It's not.
It's Glowtime.
I'm
So
not sure.
do you think it's
I'm not sure it
Glowtime
does.
is a pun on it's showtime or it's go time?
Go time.
Yeah, I think it might be. I think it might be go time, or maybe it's a mixture of both. It's like
We haven't even explained what's going on.
Yeah,
I mean,
please
probably
do.
everybody knows, but Apple sent out invitations to the iPhone 16 event. It's going to happen September 9th. Leander took a shot at Gurman for getting the date wrong in the newsletter.
oh no,
I said that's kind of a cheap shot.
no, it's like don't, dude, don't. It's like every once in a while he misses something and you're gonna try and dunk on him. It's like, but every other time he's like 100% right. Like nah, don't do it.
It made me chuckle. Anyway, so this year's invite says it's Glowtime. There's a colorful Apple logo animated. If you look at
Let's see if I can bring this up.
Josh
Is it in here?
posted the thing on X. I don't know. I think it's in there.
Oh yeah.
I think Josh'
shoot.
tweet
Hold
is
on.
in there.
Sorry, there's music that goes with it. Hopefully that didn't just get us booted.
Oh, jeez.
Oh man, okay. So that is definitely a let's see here. Let's play this again. Sorry for those of you listening. I'm gonna describe it. If you haven't seen it, it's like lens flare. That's exactly what it looks like. It's like the Apple logo coming into focus, and as they go through the focus range, there's all these like visual artifacts, light artifacts, lens-shaped artifacts that are kind of shifting around, and then it comes into focus.
Interesting. That's what you saw in it. Everybody else thought that it looks kind of like the Siri orb with the
Oh
various.
yeah, I can see that. Although I don't think
But
that's
it's
it.
About that, they're changing the Siri design to something that's not that anymore.
Yeah.
So, in retrospect, I don't know why it would be that.
Yeah, it looks exactly like the lens flare that you see in like a J.J. Abrams movie. Dude, this okay, what is going on with this widget? I'm trying to refresh the animation. Look, it doesn't even work. What is this garbage? Get some engineers over there, Elon. What's happening?
Hire a couple of people.
Hire a couple more people to work on this video. There we go.
It looks pretty good. I think that's a pretty good animation. And before we talk too much trash about its Glowtime, it does suit the animation. Let's see.
Lens flare. Lens flare. That's what I was trying to think of. My goodness.
That's what you said.
Did I say lens flare?
Six times.
Okay, good. And then I'm only losing my mind and not my
Wow.
eyesight.
The show went seriously off track because Irfan's like mesmerized by the glowing apple orb.
Okay, I'm gonna be quiet. Go ahead.
So other people don't think of J.J. Abrams. They think of Siri and the way Siri glows in the redesigned interface. I haven't actually seen it yet. I'm still too scared to put the beta on my phone. Anyway, what do we expect from this thing? iPhone 16 Pro and Pro Max supposedly going to get bigger screens. Going to be a camera capture button.
Mm-hmm.
That's supposedly definitely on the Pro models. Might be on the lesser models. We're not sure about that yet. Seems like nobody really knows for sure. The regular normie iPhone 16 and 16 Plus are going to add the action button, which is on the Pro models right now. Maybe Apple will move it to a better place. Who knows? I don't know.
I like it where it is, but that's just me.
You know, I bet you on a regular Pro, it's more convenient than on a Pro Max. On the Pro Max, it's like you have to shift the whole thing in your hand to get up to where that thing is.
Yeah, man, I'm
unless
going.
You have like a 8-inch thumb.
Magic Johnson fingers or something. I'm going. I'm going Pro, man. I think I decided it's the lower price, and it just is such a great hand experience, And you're right. And I feel like I have pretty large hands actually. I'm not Alex E. Heath over here with the teeny tiny girl hands. I've got large man hands, and I can barely reach it. And you have to do all these like contortions to like get your like you got to like reach up in weird directions while you're trying to hold on to your phone. And as much as I love the bigger screen on the Max, and I'll probably end up back on it just for that reason. And I do love the extra screen. I mean, that makes a huge difference, especially because I mentioned this before, YouTube videos a lot in picture-in-picture mode, and it shrinks the video way down. And the Max, it's actually quite large still. You can see everything. So for that reason, I want to keep the Max. But, dude.
That's really about the only real reason that big screen
it comes in handy when you're driving and you're using the Maps app. I would say that's the other big use case for it. But other than that,
you should be using CarPlay anyway, man.
Yeah, my car doesn't
with the iPhone
have.
17, with the iPhone 17, you'll have even more reason to buy the bigger phone, and we'll get to that later in the show.
Let's see. You know what? Hold on. I was just thinking. So I bought this new car, and a lot of cars have like these special integrated radios where it's like you can't really swap them out very easy because they kind of control things within the car that you need access to. But in this Subaru I bought, it really doesn't do any of that. I'm wondering if I should just spend the dough and put in like a CarPlay radio. I mean, that would be such a huge upgrade. I wonder how much it costs for like a nice one.
If you want a nice one with wireless CarPlay, they're around like $300, $500, I think.
Oh, dude, that's not bad. Does that include installation?
No.
I mean, for the level of convenience that you get.
Your car doesn't support CarPlay.
No, it's 2018. I think they started supporting it in 2019, like the new model year. Yeah.
I swapped out the crappy old radio in my truck. It was a couple $100. Then I had to pay another couple $100 to get it installed because I was not about to. I had it installed and like a backup camera, but
you did the backup cam
really
too.
old.
Yeah,
really old.
That's super useful though. Like the backup camera is like the one car feature. It's impossible to live without once you don't have it.
The backup camera in my Prius is completely useless, even though it has one and it's pretty good resolution. They didn't put it in the middle of the trunk, so it's slightly off center. So you don't actually know, and it doesn't even have like the guiding lights on the screen either. So you don't actually know.
I mean, looks like it's far enough. Oops, I hit it.
Toyota did something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
A rare miss.
This is I gotta just say this. This is a tangent. I admit it right off the bat, tangent. But talking about this reminds me that last weekend Leander and I went to this thing called Electrify Expo.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever heard of this? They have this thing around the country. It's an event, and it's mostly cars, electric vehicles and trucks. And you go there and you can test drive a Tesla or a Rivian, Prius Prime. We got to drive all those cars. And you should have heard Leander when he was driving the Rivian and I was in the back seat. And they get this one place and they're like, okay. And they actually have a guy like with a a racing flag there, like twirl it and say, okay, go. They call it like the launch zone or something, right? And it's just a straightaway. And the idea is, just hammer it as hard as you can. And the woman says, okay, now just after you do it, make sure you start slowing down by the, like those signs way up there. And Leander floors it. He starts like screaming, and he let off like, I don't know, halfway to where he was supposed to start slowing down. He's like, oh my god. I don't know if you ever did that with one of those things. It is pretty shocking how fast those electric cars
I could just
accelerate.
hear and see Leander doing that, because that's exactly what he would do. He would just get in, absolutely no experience, and then just gun it and probably end up through a brick wall. Yeah. So, dude, they got this Electrify Expo in Seattle coming up. Oh, dude, I'm going to be gone when it happens. I'm actually leaving on the 14th and 15th when it is. That's a bummer. This looks pretty cool, man. Dude, I have been trying to come up with like a convention idea for like 10 years. It's just once you get a good one and you get people in there to like come to the convention, you are just set for life, man. Like if you can build an audience with some kind of convention, I can't come up with anything. And then I see Electrify Expo. I'm like, this has got to be new. And it's such an obvious idea. It's like, why didn't I think of this?
I got to say, we got some free tickets thanks to our friends at Anchor, who were also there. They're one of the big sponsors of this event, right? And oddly, they're using like these Anchor power stations to instead of, the old gas powered generators that you typically see at these kinds of events. They're using these things. If they actually run out, they just swap in a new one. And they were showing off their like solar stuff and home batteries and things like that. So it was all kinds of vehicles. Rad Power Bikes was there. Isn't that what it's called? Rad Power Bikes?
Yeah, they are. They are local, to Seattle. I've reviewed a bunch of their bikes. And
people, were test riding bikes and electric motorcycles, electric scooters, electric
that's pretty cool.
Skateboards. The lines for the cars were pretty long, but they had all kinds of Porsches and BMWs and Fords.
Dang. Great idea.
It was pretty wild, man. There were Lane and I were like, man, there are a lot of people here test driving cars. It seems like something like you could just do on any given Saturday, right? But the thing is, you don't get a chance to just floor it like that,
and to see everything all in one place, and to walk around and try different stuff.
Talk to people. Yeah, I mean, it's a giant combine for getting your email address and stuff. And Leander's like, how many spam emails have you gotten from Tesla and Rivian so far today? The day after the event, it's like, yeah, okay. But anyway.
The thing I'm most interested in is like the electric bikes and electric scooters and like the electric motorcycles and stuff. Like that's the stuff that I think I would actually be interested in riding.
The cars are cool, and what brings it, what made me think of this is the CarPlay interface or whatever. Looking at the one on like the Rivian and the Tesla is like, oh my god, it's so giant. It's like a giant iPad Pro sitting there on your dashboard. And they had this one thing, I think it was the Rivian, where it had an overhead view of your car. It was like you're being followed by a drone. I'm like, it was actually really uncanny watching that and watching the way that it puts this high definition view of what you're doing. It's pretty freaking wild, man. Makes me every time I get my truck, I just feel like I'm getting in a tractor.
Yeah, well, your truck was made in 1954, right? Doesn't it have one of those cranks on the front for you to like get it going? You gotta go out there and crank. Gotta get the car started. All right, look, we're way in the weeds, and we've only got like 30 minutes left. So
it was me this time. I'm sorry about that.
Yes, it was your fault. For once, it was your fault. What else do you want to
know? What else do you want to know? Anything else about that? I mean, Apple Intelligence, they're going to demo that. They're going to give us a release date on all the different software and show off probably Apple Watch Series 10, maybe Apple Watch SE 3. Some talk that there might be AirPods too, AirPods 4.
Dude, I hope so. I'm ready to replace my AirPods. Like, I love my AirPods 3, but it's got the Lightning case, and I'm so done with Lightning, man. I don't want to do. Oh, that's not true. I just bought 2 new iPad Series 9s, iPad 9s, because they're selling them on Amazon for $200 right now. $200, and they're like the perfect iPad for kids. So I did buy a couple more of those. Those are Lightning. So now I have 3 of those, but for my own personal devices, I am done with
You know
lightning.
what? That's
I
a,
just don't
that's a
want to do
great
it
thing
anymore.
to buy for your kids, because that means that your kids can't steal your USB-C cables to charge them when they lose their lightning
Oh,
cables.
Yeah, I do like that delineation there. It's like, oh,
Hmm.
let me buy your. No, it's not happening. Because I get the nice cables too, like the ones with the cables I've gotten used to and that I love are the ones that have like little displays on them that show you how much juice is being pulled from like the plug or from or into your iPhone or iPad or something. It's so useful to see like how many watts are being pulled in. Like once you get used to those cables, like I can just tell you by looking at my phone how fast it's going to charge by seeing how many watts it's pulling in. It's just extremely useful. It's just always useful to know like how much watts a device is pulling. So I've been trying to replace all my USB-C cables with those. The only other thing I think we should add is that we might be getting the beautiful Buster Heine bronze
oh, right.
phone. You know, that's going to be one of those things you got to see in person. They got to get it just right. There's a fine line between beautiful Buster Heine bronze and I have a stomach condition, you know, doo-doo brown.
Not me. I'm getting brown no matter what.
You're going brown
I mean,
no
look
matter
at the
what.
amount of brown in the room that I am in.
I don't think it's going to be brown. I hope it's not brown. It needs to not be brown. It needs to be bronze or golden bronze. Like there's a big there's a small distinction between the two in the right light. Like the pictures that
And
I
they're
saw that
all excellent.
and the picture that I saw that Sonny Dixon posted, who is the first one who came up with these was the one that I think broke the actual colors. It looked kind of brown, but he was taking a photo like straight down from the top of it. And so I think the lighting may not have been perfect, and they were mock-ups. So it's like who knows how
dummy
close
units,
they are. Yeah, they're
yeah.
dummy units. Like who knows how close they actually are. But man,
Probably not very.
they may be. I mean I don't know. He's been pretty accurate in the past. I'm gonna guess they're close, but they're probably not exact.
The dummy units probably aren't even made out of glass and titanium. They're probably made out
They're
of
probably
plastic.
not. Yeah, because why would they?
It's going to reflect light differently.
Yeah, exactly. And the ones that I saw looked very flat. So I don't know. But that's extremely exciting. So and plus my iPhone 15 Pro Max, as you all know, is not fully functional. Well, that's not true. It is fully functional. It just you can't sneeze around it. You can't go into a rainstorm. You know, anything that's going to get
No
dust or
excessive sweating.
Yeah, definitely no sweating. I even feel a little apprehensive to use it with hand sweat going on. So I am ready to replace it with something that's a little bit more durable. And this time I'm making the plunge. I'm getting the Apple Care Plus. Yeah.
Plus.
I'm gonna do
Yeah.
it, man. I mean, I did the math, and like one of our listeners offered to connect me with a discount, so you get it 25% off. And I did the math, and I was like, it's like $6 a month. And even if I keep the phone a year, when you go to sell it, I mean, if you give someone Apple Care Plus with the phone, that is such a huge value to them. They're like, because they know that there's nothing wrong with the phone. If anything goes wrong, they can go back to Apple. Like it just greatly increases the price of the phone. I think you basically make your money back when you sell it. So I don't know. Plus,
You get the Apple Care Plus, then you can go nude.
I thought about it,
You
man.
can look at the gorgeous
I actually thought
actual
about doing
way
it.
the phone is supposed to
I
work.
actually thought about it.
Yep.
The only other thing I wanted to mention is, God, we're going way long on this. I'm sorry. I think this is an important call out though. Is they're making a move into the capacitive buttons, I think. And for a while I was like, why would they do this? The people don't really like capacitive buttons, but now I think it's because this is just a guess. I think it's because the buttons are are the weakest point of water egress on the phone. I think they know that. I think that's what happened to my phone. And even though that guy was like, this has literally never happened ever. You're the first person that's ever had this happen, which is complete BS. We all know
on
that.
the planet.
He might as well have said
Yeah.
that. I mean, he was trying to communicate that the seals literally never fail. And I'm like, well, then how did water get in? And he's like, I got him. But I think it's the buttons, man. I think they're moving in and out. I think that it's hard to seal those up when they move in and out like that. And I think that's how the water got in. And I think that's why Apple wants to make the move to the capacitive buttons, because they can completely seal those off. And they're trying to remove any point of egress that they can and make the phone more waterproof. But I mean, I don't know. My Apple Watch Ultra has a button, and it apparently can be used for scuba diving. And people seem to not ever have any problems with it. And so I really don't know. But
The capacitive one, the capture button sounds cool though. Like it also gives it extra magic, right?
Yeah.
You can do different things with it.
Yeah, that's true. Like you can do like gestures and stuff. And I wonder if this is a test for them to see how durable it is before they move it to the other buttons, right? Like if they're being strategic about it. Anyway, we've been talking about this for like 25 years. Let's see here. Should we move on? I just wanted to mention MacBook Pros with the M4 Pro and M4 Max chips are reportedly being mass-produced this month. My friends, they're on the way. The beautiful M4 Pro, M4 Max MacBook Pros should probably be here by August. So I could go through this whole story. This is a Mac Rumor story. But I think what I would just say is this. It's probably going to be a spec bump. It's going to just be them putting M4 into the MacBook Pro. So I think that means a couple things. Number one, it's going to mean a drop in price on the M3s. So the 40-core CPU, 16-core GPU MacBook Pro is going to drop in price. I think that's going to be a great time to get that machine, which in many respects is even faster than the M1 Ultra Apple Studio, which is totally insane. So that might be the move, in my opinion. Because, and I'm on the fence about this too, because I think next year they're going to add OLED to the MacBook Pro. So really, this is probably not the one to get unless you really need a new machine. And I hate to say that because I'm trying to convince myself that I need it. Even though my M1 Max MacBook Pro is still working perfectly for all my needs. So it might be the move to either get the M3 Max with the 40-core CPU, 16-core GPU, or just wait until next year when we probably get an OLED screen, which will be a big upgrade. So that's my thinking on that. But in either case, we're getting new MacBook Pros before the end of the year, which is pretty exciting because it's a very fast turnaround from the last model. Any thoughts, concerns, worries?
I don't remember. At least we haven't reported on rumors of them going OLED next year. But if that's true, I guess I would certainly wait. But I'm coming from the other perspective in that I think the M4 is going to be a giant leap in performance. And I think that like even if you can pay 20% less for an M3 model after the new ones are out, I think the M4 models are going to be more than 20% faster. So, you'll be paying less, but you also won't be getting the best. I know how much you like having the best.
I do. I really love having the best.
And really, you deserve it.
Well, that's really what it's about, Louis. Don't we deserve the best? That's what it's about. It's not about need. It's not about need. I mean, if we're talking about need, I could probably get away with a 13-inch MacBook Air from 2018. I mean, Griffin does the editing. I haven't touched a YouTube video in like a year. What do I need? A fast machine? I don't. But you never know.
Probably
you
get
might
by with an iPad.
Oh, please don't even start that with me. Don't even start that with me. No serious person computes on an iPad. No serious productive person. All right. I'm completely lost, but I do know this. I want to give Hugo Last a big thank you with the massive super chat. He says, is there no message in a super chat? Is it really a super chat? Wait a second. Let me rephrase that because I think I read that wrong. If there is no message in a super chat, is it really a super chat? I think it still is. As long as those ducats are coming in, and he's coming in with the $49.99 going straight to Leander Katie's pocket. I'm still not happy about that. We're gonna have to get that fixed, Louis. Get that pipeline adjusted. But Hugo Last, who is going to be coming on the show. Oh, yes. We've been chatting. Hugo and I didn't say it would happen quickly, but it is going to happen. We are going to get Hugo Last on, which proves one thing for sure. You can buy yourself onto the show. So throw us enough money. We'll let you do whatever you want. I'll let you replace Louis Griffin if the price is right.
Please. I'll pay you.
Louis might pay me to allow that to. But here's the thing. I will still refer to you as Louis or as Griffin. Like, we'll just pretend like you're just them, and then we'll just slot you in and give Louis the day off or something. He would love that. Poor Louis would love that on a Thursday when he's supposed to be writing the newsletter. He's got a break and come do this. Look at poor Louis.
That'd be great.
He needs a break. All right. Thank you to Hugo for the very generous super chat. Where are we going next? I'm completely lost.
Let's talk about Apple Intelligence.
All right, let's do it. If you insist. You're going to try and convince us that they're ahead of OpenAI, aren't you?
Well, I'm not going to claim that they're ahead because they're not.
Okay.
But they're not as far behind as you might think. A white paper on Apple Intelligence reveals 2 important facts about Apple's homegrown LLM. It's the safest in design and highly competitive with both Llama and GPT-4. This seems to debunk a myth about Apple's AI efforts that the company's privacy-first philosophy would hold its features back. Powering all Apple Intelligence features is, of course, the Apple Foundation model, abbreviated here as AFM. And there are 2 versions of it. There's one that runs locally on your device called AFM on device, and one that runs in their cloud servers called AFM server. This white paper was authored by over 150 Apple employees and outlines in like really incredible detail, like all of the training, performance, and all of their tests and evaluations that they've done on the foundation model. So, I wrote a personal blog post about this on my website that goes into more details on like just interesting nuggets that I've found from reading it. But here on the Cult of Mac article, I pretty much jumped straight into the evaluations and like the tests they've run and like the results from those. So in the human evaluation test, 1,393 prompts are fed into the Apple Foundation model and other competing models, like a bunch of them. And it's tested separately against the open source LLMs and like all of the commercial LLMs. And against the latest and greatest, Llama 3 and GPT-4, both in their like respective domains, Apple comes out slightly behind, but stacked up with the rest, it's a pretty tight race. Apple Intelligence beats out Mistral and GPT 3.5 over 50% of the time. And this is having humans evaluate like the answers to different prompts. It's a really tight race, much more than you would think. Additional benchmarks show even greater results. Text generation and composition, which are widely considered to be like the bread and butter of GPT-4, is only a slight lead over Apple's own, 9.7 versus 9.6 out of 10. That is an incredibly slim margin. I bet if I told you, Erfan, a year ago that Apple's AI would only score 0.1 lower than GPT-4, you would call me insane.
I might still call you insane. I'm not even sure I believe these results. They're so close. But also, Apple has been throwing absolutely everything that they have into AI, and it would not be shocking to learn that they bought their way back up to where they need to be.
Yeah. So here's where they really shine, though. When it comes to generating content that isn't discriminatory, hateful, exclusionary, harmful, sexual, illegal, or violent, the Apple Foundation model is the safest by a huge margin. This one isn't even close. AFM on device produced harmful content nearly half as frequently as the next best, and roughly a third as frequently as Llama 3. AFM server scored 4.5 times better than GPT-4, which
I don't know. Yeah.
To do this, like they said that they, unlike all these other companies that are just like vacuuming up everything on the internet that they possibly can, Apple actually like filtered through the training data, and they say that like, we really strive for quality over quantity, and we're really happy with the results that gives us. Like they have all of these filters that they use to filter out all of the data so that it doesn't even get their training stuff before it's modeled on it. Speculation before WWDC is that Apple would be like years behind and might not even have its own LLM at all. Like people were thinking like all of these Apple Intelligence features would be powered purely by ChatGPT and stuff like that. And that's, not only is that not true, but it's really in the opposite direction. Apple's doing a pretty great job at this so far. And what are your thoughts?
The first thing that just comes to my mind is, the test is going to be, a couple things. One, does Siri work? Can you get Siri working? You're doing all this stuff. Like, can you at least fix Siri so that it understands what I'm saying? Dictation, right? Are you leveraging this technology to actually make dictation work? I think that's going to be my proof is in the pudding moment. But also, if it doesn't work, there are also text prompts that you could feed this thing and to see how it works in real world situations. And we're not far from that, right? We're going to know that pretty soon. And in fact, if the event is happening on September 9th, is that what it is? We'll have the phones, let's see here, September 9th.
They're saying that the phones will probably be released September 20th.
Okay. of course, I'll be. Oh no, that's the day after I get back. Yes, yes. Which means I'll have to roll my janky phone to Disneyland. That's where I'm going. Oh yes, I'm going to Disneyland. In mid-September. So the proof is going to be, does it understand me? And when I'm typing text prompts, like, what are the actual responses? I mean, I see all these results, and it's not that I distrust the data, but it's like, you know, I just maybe do slightly distrust that it's actually this good.
To address point one, speech to text is a different part that isn't affected by Apple Intelligence. Speech to text, turns whatever you say into the text that is then input to the LLM. That's a step that happens before you even get to the.
And is that not going to be involved in the machine
Apple
learning at all?
That's going to change.
Okay, that's a major bummer because I was hoping that would be one of the things that is fixed because that's like the phone's biggest problem in my opinion.
Although you can supersede that in iOS 18 because now you can text to Siri.
Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean text to Siri?
You don't have to give Siri a command with your voice anymore. You can double tap on the home bar at the bottom of the screen and you can just type your Siri command.
I know, but
won't that be great?
I just feel like that kind of that the whole point is the convenience of speaking and not having to type it, right? So like if you have to type it, that's a nice option, but that doesn't really fix the problem in my opinion.
Now, the other point that I would want to make is that I didn't put this in the show notes because I didn't know how deep we would get into this, but other tests that they did are they tested the foundation model's use of tools, how well it can interpret what you said as a command, and then given a list of tools that it can use, how well it uses them to properly execute and follow the instructions you gave it. And that's another area where Apple Intelligence was like leaps and bounds ahead of all of the other models. Like even the on-device version of Apple Intelligence is beating out some of these server-based LLMs in tool use, which is pretty promising because that is going to be another essential component into making sure Siri can actually do what you say when you ask it to do these things.
What is this whole human evaluation of output harmfulness? What is that? It's like a measure of is the prompt generating text that is gonna like scare you or threaten you or make fun of some immutable part of like your personality or the way you look or something. I mean, what does that even mean? Illegal or violent? When it comes to generating content that isn't discriminatory, hateful, exclusionary, harmful, sexual, illegal, or violent, just straight up violence. Siri, can you turn off the light? No, and I will kill you if you ask me again. At least Apple scored well there.
I'm slightly worried about Apple's in-house sensors defining what is harmful, much the way Twitter's in-house sensors used to do.
That's going to be a big problem across the entire tech landscape, right? Is like, how do you even tune that? Because everyone's definition of that is something different.
Right. What is harmful?
Yeah, exactly.
What is it? I mean, exclusionary.
You can read into the white paper that they published for more details on
there
that.
You go.
But they have a whole
Did they talk about
taxonomy of how they're consistently rating those things.
All right.
Did it seem legit?
Yeah,
seem like
they
they're
really
taking a
thought
good
it out.
approach?
Mm-hmm.
All right, then. The proof will be in the pudding, as they say.
That's it. I think I said that earlier too.
We'll
so
see.
You,
I mean, if
sure
Are
it
you
asks to
serious?
burn
I
down
did
my
say
local
that.
Menards, then we'll know.
You just
Two
completely
pudding remarks in one podcast.
two puddings, one podcast.
Pudding
You just-
cast.
You just Sherlocked that for me. So you'll be hearing from my high-powered legal team. All right, look. We got like 22 minutes before I have to be walking these sweet buns right out the door. Whether we're done with the show or not, I'm going to just get up and leave. So we got a lot of these stories left. Do you want to do the Apple Photos app cleanup feature? Works great unless it doesn't story real quick, Lewis. And then we got
Yeah, sure. I mean,
more.
it's mostly a visual thing, right?
All
Can
right.
you show people the amazing job that the cleanup thing did on the guy's face? there?
We're looking at a picture of a guy smiling, and his mustache and his flavor saver have been blended together into one piece of facial hair. His lips have been completely gone.
Yeah. So this cleanup feature, it's in the Photos app, and I guess they added this in iOS 18.1 Beta 3, which came out yesterday, I guess. And it's one of those AI powered things where it like you can, if somebody's in the back of your picture, you can zap them out of there. It lets you clean up your photographs if there's some part of it that you don't like, right? And this guy,
It'll do whatever you ask it to do. If you draw a
right.
circle over a mouth, it'll erase the mouth.
This
Problem solved.
guy says his name's Charlie Chapman, which is dangerously close to Charlie Chaplin. He says, I've always been a little self-conscious about my smile. This is on X, he wrote. Now, with the new cleanup feature powered by Apple Intelligence, I can finally show the world the way my smile feels on the inside. If you watch that animation of watching that thing where he like circles his mouth, his teeth, and then it just covers up his whole face. It's like a tribble is coming out of his mouth. It's horribly disgusting.
Tribble. It looks like Davy Crockett's hat.
So he also I contacted him on Twitter. He verified it as true. He even sent me like another thing of doing crazy things. He says he compared it basically like all the other AI photo erasure tools that are out there. I mean, there's tons of things that have this kind of capability. He says you can make it do all sorts of crazy things. But a lot of people were commenting on this cleanup feature in the Photos app. There, and I can't verify this one. There's one of this guy. He took a picture of himself holding a phone and like went to erase it and it made him look like Quasimodo behind it or something like that. It was really kind of horrifying. But there's a ton of people saying, "Hey, it works great. I love it. One of the best Apple Intelligence features."
Dear my goodness, that is horrifying. That is straight up scary what it did to his face.
Again, I'm not 100% sure that is the Apple. I mean, who
I've been
knows?
testing it on my phone, and I believe it.
Have you seen these kinds of hallucinations?
Yeah,
horrible things. But then there's like somebody who makes the Eiffel. They zap the Eiffel Tower out of an image. It seems like some of the results are really fantastic, and I mean, I think that Apple's genius with this Apple Intelligence is doing features like that and the custom emojis and things like that. And it gets back to what you're saying, where it works well with these tools, right? They're more about making the iPhone better than they are about competing with ChatGPT. So, I mean, I have high hopes for these things. In spite of that guy's outrageous facial hair. Oh my God! Every time I look at it, it gives me the shivers.
I mean, I think it looks pretty manly, if you ask me.
Oh my
Just
God!
Your whole face covered with hair.
This is what peak masculinity looks like.
That is peak masculinity. That's like
just
Magnum
hair.
PI. I would be embarrassed of his mustache after seeing that. All right, cool. That was actually more entertaining than I thought it was going to be, Lewis.
It's all about the pictures, man.
Yeah, that definitely helps with our massive audio listenership.
Yeah.
Hopefully we did that one justice. Let's see here. What else do we got? Now, why did we move the entry-level M4 Max story to the bottom instead of including it with the other M4 Max stories that we had up at the top?
These are two stories about RAM, the most thrilling segment of the podcast.
Yeah,
I think there might be something.
Ramcast.
There might be something wrong with your RAM. All right. I'll do a quick mention of the iPhone 17 Pro Max exclusive feature coming up. Now, I know you haven't even gotten your hands on the iPhone 16, but the 16 is old hat by this point. Do any of you even care anymore? Old news.
God,
We're talking about
at least
iPhone
one surprise.
17 here, and this one's an exciting one. Have you ever felt like your phone is too hot to handle? Perhaps too cold to hold? Well, there's nothing that is going to happen with the second one that I mentioned, but perhaps the first one can be solved with an all-new vapor chamber. Lewis, coming exclusively to the iPhone 17 Pro Max. This is technology that was included on the Xbox Series X. They were quite proud of it. A way to keep the CPU or the GPU cooled more efficiently. And it looks like that same technology is coming to the iPhone 17 Pro Max. I'm showing the wrong story, aren't I?
Oh,
I
dear
most certainly am.
heavens.
That's okay. It's now fixed. And so your phone may not overheat as often as it does when you're in hot weather. I'm sure you've all experienced this. Like you're using your phone and then you get the overheating warning, which has happened to me a bunch of times. Especially when you're using video, you're like taking a video and it's hot and then all of a sudden your phone overheats. What I've done in the past is just submerge my phone in a few inches of water to cool it off.
Good thinking.
Being as the phone is IP68 rated and good down to 18 feet of water. But be careful because a little splash in the wrong direction might do your phone in. And that 18-foot rating is the worst case scenario. I mean, you should never even try it. You should never even attempt it. But I mean, you should feel good that that's possible, but you should never use your phone immersed in water ever. So it looks like now, with this new feature coming to iPhone 17 Pro Max, your phone will maybe not heat up as often. Who knows how effective this will be? And then the other exclusive feature, more RAM. Everyone loves more RAM. Lets you have more tabs open, keep more apps in memory. Well, it looks like the 17 Pro Max will be the only phone exclusively that will get 12 gigabytes of RAM. A whole 12 gigs. Holy moly. Whoever thought that you would be able to have the power of 12 gigs right in your hand? And of course, they're going to nerf the other phones so that there's a reason for you to spend for the Max version. I don't know how many people care about more RAM. I mean, it's like a pretty nerdy feature, right? Most people don't know what a RAM is. And if you know, you know. But most people, I'm not sure, know what it does or why they should pay more for it. But, it's one of those, I guess, pro features that professionals actually care about. And of course, it definitely is handy if you're trying to keep multiple apps open without having to reload when you're moving around from app to app. There you go. There's your iPhone 17 Pro update. You want to tell us about entry-level M4 Max with double the RAM, Griffin? I know you're excited about that. Actually, come to think of it, that actually is cool.
Yeah. So while the company now offers Macs for professionals with up to 128 gigabytes of system memory, entry-level Macs still ship with a paltry 8 gigabytes, despite the industry moving forward with 16 gigabytes as the standard. But Bloomberg's Mark Gurman, never heard of him, says Apple finally changed this. Reportedly, the company is testing M4 Max with 16 or 32 gigabytes of system memory. The lack of an 8 gigabyte model indicates the company might do away with that configuration entirely. Gurman also says that M4 Max will support up to 32 gigabytes of system memory, up from the 24 gigabyte configuration, which is currently as high as you can go if you have the base M4 chip. They'll be raising that. The additional entry-level RAM should help M4 Max run Apple Intelligence and other AI-related tasks, especially considering people can keep their Macs for much longer, many more years than their phone, and they expect their computer to, do more things than their phone. Like it makes sense that they want to future-proof these, if for Apple Intelligence models in the future to get bigger and bigger, consume more of that memory. They don't want a lot of it to be taken up if you don't have very much memory. Apple will likely launch M4-powered MacBook Pros, iMacs, and Mac Minis later this year. Other devices in the Mac lineup, like the MacBook Air, Mac Studio, Mac Pro, will get the M4 refresh in 2025.
Dang, this is so long overdue. I mean, 8 gigabytes of RAM is a sham, a scam, an embarrassment.
This is why.
Yeah.
Apple has never increased the base level of RAM since Tim Cook has been CEO.
Wow. It's all about Tim
Cook. That's all
you
need to know.
Pinching those pennies. That's going to be his legacy. I'm calling him 8 gig Tim from now on. That's going to be his name going forward. We got to brand him with this terrible atrocity. I'm being serious. 8 gigabytes of RAM. I was trying to find words that rhymed, so maybe sham and scam are probably not the best ones. But it is an absolute embarrassment that they still have 8 gigabytes of RAM in these machines for how expensive that they are. I hear people say, oh, it's good enough for what the machines do. Dude, my wife has an 8 gigabyte MacBook Air. It is not enough. It is definitely not enough. I feel like she's having memory warnings pop up all the time, and I never would have imagined that it would have struggled with 8 gigabytes of RAM. So I think going forward, 16, I mean, it makes such a massive difference in quality of life, dude. It's like, I'm just happy to see they're finally entertaining this as an idea. We'll see if it actually comes to fruition. But 8 gig, I can't even say it. 8 gig Tim, 8 gig Tim. We're gonna have to workshop that. There's something in there, but it's not rolling off the tongue. Maybe Lewis, we could get something that rolls off the tongue a little bit more smoothly. Let me know if anything comes to your mind. All right, last story. I'm ready to have my mind blown. Griffin, I hope you didn't oversell this. I hope you did not oversell this. I'll be the judge.
I did not write the headline to this article.
You didn't?
No.
Okay.
Leander and Lewis usually dress up my headlines because, I'm a very academic writer in that way, and then I'll say like, "Oh, these are the 8 Apple continuity features," and they'll be like, "No, these are the mind-blowing features everybody should know." So
We're trying to add interest, Griffin. We're trying to add interest.
Look, hey man, you got to add some level of clickbait in there. If you just go 6 mildly useful continuity features you may be interested to know about, that article's getting no views. No, you're not getting to the top of the Apple subreddit with that headline.
Well, look, I quit my marketing job for a reason. Anyways,
all right.
These are the 6 features that you probably may have seen at WWDC, or you may have seen like years ago when you were first setting up your Mac, and you probably forgot about because it's hard to rediscover these things. But these are the features that if you have like a Mac and an iPhone or an iPad and a Mac, and if you have multiple devices in the Apple sphere, which I'm sure all of the listeners of our show do, then these are the features that you could be taking advantage of if only you knew about them. So the first one is continuity camera. If you are sick of your crummy little MacBook webcam and you want to dress it up a little bit, it's a feature that I'm using right now. If you're watching the video version of this podcast, all you have to do is stick your iPhone horizontally and just like mount it, vertically up so that it's, pointing at your face. And then when you take a FaceTime call or video call or Zoom call, really like anytime you use the camera on your Mac at all, you can switch the camera from your crummy little webcam to your high quality iPhone camera. That's one of my favorite features. I use it literally every week.
I use it on my Apple TV to make FaceTime calls, and it's definitely, I wouldn't say life-changing, but it is kind of life-changing, because before you didn't really have a way to take FaceTime calls in your TV, and now you do, and that's like one of the best ways that we do it. So super cool and very reliable. Like it just doesn't really ever not work. It's just reliable, and the picture doesn't disappear or get like unsynced or anything. Like it actually works very well.
Handoff is another one that I think very few people know about. If you're reading an article on your phone and you come back to sit down on your Mac, or the other way, if you're reading something on your Mac and you want to, somebody calls in the other room and you want to get up and carry on what you're doing, if you're switching to a Mac from using your phone, you should look in your dock and you might see the app icon of the app you have on your phone. And then you can tap on that icon and it'll bring up the same email that you were just composing in Mail, or it'll open the same website up in Safari, or or music or podcasts. Actually, not music. Music is the one thing that doesn't work with continuity. But a bunch of other features work that you could just like hand off between your devices. And if you're on iOS or iPadOS, if you enter the multitasking view, then you'll see a little bubble on the bottom of the screen that's like Safari from your Mac, and you can tap on that and it'll open the website. I use it all the time. It's great. If my dog asks to, go to the bathroom while I'm reading something on my Mac, I can just, pick it up on my phone.
Dogs asking you things? I think that's the next off topic.
Well, okay. One of my dogs is smart enough to scratch the door when she wants to go out.
Oh.
The other one just sort of stares at me until I figure it out.
It's amazing how well they communicate when they want something, isn't it? It's like, like when I'm eating dinner, my dog will come up and just place her paw on my leg and just look at me, waiting for her bite. Okay, we've got no more time for tangents. Keep going.
Okay. If you want to read the rest of the list, you can check out the full article on cultofmac.com. It'll be in the show notes.
Oh, look at that.
Little teased. Was
rest of the
unexpected
article.
there.
Or you can watch the YouTube video, which is better.
Oh, there's a YouTube video as well on the Cult of Mac channel?
Yes, there is.
Cult of Mac TV?
That's right.
Man, kids don't even know what TV means. They don't even use TV. I mean, so many people watch stuff exclusively like on their phones or their laptops. I just can't believe that people do that. If I'm going to enjoy something, I can't do it on my laptop, man. I certainly can't do it on my phone. I won't even watch a trailer for a movie that I'm excited about until it's available on YouTube so I can watch it on my TV. Like, I can't have a movie experience.
That is dedication.
Dude, I don't know how else you can do it and enjoy it. Do you watch stuff on your computer or your phone exclusively?
I watch trailers all the time. I don't typically watch a movie, but trailers, sure, all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I save it all for the big screen, man. And or the movie theater, which I almost never go to anymore.
You're a man of leisure then.
I save it for the
I've been
bigger
accused of
screen,
worse.
The floating 5-foot tall screen in front of me when I'm wearing my Vision Pro.
Yeah, Griffin's watching it in Joshua Tree National Park with the wolves howling gently in the background. Man, that was a great experience. But I did see a movie recently. Maybe we should do like a show or movie review. I haven't been to a movie theater in forever. I saw Alien Romulus last weekend. Not as bad as I expected. Pretty good, I thought, actually. But, you know, Aliens is one of those franchises that most people just don't care about at all or don't like because they're like scary movies. There is a dedicated core fan base of people who love Alien movies, and they love all of them. And how I know that's true is like there's this guy on YouTube called, I think he's German. So like he's got like that German English accent, which I tend to like. And his name is like Croft Talks Movies. He's like, hey everyone, Croft here. And all he does is talk about alien stuff. And he'll do like a deep dive into the lore of Aliens and the movies that come out and like how the stories all tie together. And this guy gets massive views. He gets huge numbers, and it's all he talks about. And he won't even come out with videos all that often. He'll do like a video once every couple months, and some of his videos get like 1 million views. And I'm like, dude, there is a huge fan base out there for the alien stuff and the alien lore and just like how all of it ties together and it kind of like ties into like where humans came from, where the aliens came from, how they're connected to predators. I mean, there's like all this crazy stuff. And he'll go through the scripts and he'll be like, here's how is the script. Does it not tell you like what shows up in the movie? And then he'll dive into all that stuff and like show you pictures from the scripts and stuff. It's crazy, man. And then he'll go through all the interviews with Ridley Scott, who I think wrote the original Alien movies and now like sometimes directs, but I think he like consults on like the canon and stuff. And he'll pull elements out of like the interviews. I mean, this guy, like his whole life outside of like work and whatever else he does, is just like devoted to learning about what's going on in the world of crazy. It's crazy.
Funny you mention that because Leander told me just today that he watched the new Alien movie last night and he described it as
garbage.
Kind of wretched.
Ah!
What did he say?
Kind of
he
wretched.
Said it was kind of wretched.
But you know what? Leander Koenig doesn't like any movies. Look, I remember from a previous episode we did with him, the show that he pitched was some weird British documentary or show about two boring old geezers with metal detectors walking around. You remember this?
Detectorists.
Yeah. That's LK's idea of entertainment. Can you think of anything more boring than that? Two old British guys with metal detectors. Oh, dude.
I gave it an honest try.
Yeah. Leander does not like anything that is universally loved or even universally liked. He marches to the beat of his own drummer. Okay, look. That's it. That's all the CultCast we have for you guys this week, but maybe a topic for a future off topic. But you know what? If you want to come chit chat with Griffin and sometimes me, you can come to the CultCast, the very exclusive Cult Club. Yes,
Speaking
Griffin.
of the Cult Club, next week is going to be our predictions game episode. So if you have predictions for the event, drop them in the Cult Club.
We got to do like a live Cult Club event or something. God, I'm so terrible about this stuff. Well, look, thank you to everyone who supports, even though you're definitely not getting what you're paying for, but you just want to support. And if you're feeling the urge to fork it over, we would love to have those delicious $5 of yours. So just $5 a month. Is it worth what you're receiving? Definitely not, but it's an act of generosity, and it helps ensure our future, which we appreciate. Support.thecultcast.com, support.thecultcast.com, or Cult of 9 to 5 Mac rumors until the cease and desist is enforced. And this has been the CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation. You're going to hear all week long. New episodes of the CultCast come out every Thursday night. I thank everyone for listening, for hanging out live, and we will see you guys next time. See how fast I did that? And of course, as soon as we start wrapping up, our concurrent viewers skyrockets. Why does that
check?
Always seem to be the case?
Alien was written by the late great Dan O'Bannon.
Oh, really? So directed by Ridley Scott?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hang my head in shame. But no one cares about that other guy. They only care about Ridley Scott. So I think I'm still right, even though technically I'm wrong. I think thematically I'm right.
Correct in spirit.
Correct in spirit. I like that. I'm going to start using that when people accuse me of getting the facts wrong. Correct in spirit, though. All right, everyone. happy weekend. Bye, y'all.